One of the things that I've seen in therapy now and then, and I don't see it often, is when a couple comes in and it's obvious that one person is there to work on the marriage and the other person is basically done with that marriage. And a lot of times it's because the one who wants to work on it begged and pleaded for the other person to come. So as always, I work with them. I'm just like, how can I help? What do you want from me? And a lot of times that other person just stays silent or they don't say much. Or sometimes when they're given the opportunity, they go on a long tirade of all the things that they hate and that the other person has done. But this is where we're kind of in an end game when it comes to marriage. When one person is basically done with the marriage, and that's when I have to basically tell them there's nothing more I can do. As a therapist, I have all these tools, but I can't make you want to work on this relationship. And it's sad. And unfortunately, it's kind of a joke around our office. And sometimes we joke not to be cruel, but sometimes just to cope with the stress of so much difficulty. We have a joke that if a woman calls in and says, I need help in my marriage, there's a good chance, probably a 95% chance, that we can help that couple. But when a man calls, it's usually about a 20-25% chance that we're going to be able to help them. It's sad, and I don't understand why some men just wait till things are really bad, or as I say, until the house is nearly burnt down, saying, can you please help me? And I often say, man, I wish you would have come earlier. Why didn't you come earlier? This last section that we're going to talk about in this divide that happens in a relationship, again, like I said, is kind of that end game where we lose our mission for our marriage. And what I mean by mission is that unity in our marriage where we see this going forward together. Even if, we've lacked some gentleness, even if we've lost our focus, we still have this mission of we're married and this is important. But when things get so bad, and we start to lose that mission, it often is because we lose sight of that guiding light, of that hope for our future. And we don't know, and we don't believe that there's any way that this can be fixed. In these times, sometimes a person is tempted towards despair, especially the one who wants to make it work. And lastly, what often happens in this time too is people are tempted towards sin. They're tempted towards building contempt towards the other person. Or sometimes they have this grass is greener elsewhere. And this is where you see people get involved in emotional affairs and sexual affairs with other people. And as they do that, they start investing their heart elsewhere, and they disinvest their heart in their marriage. It doesn't mean that a couple can't come back from this. There's many ways that, I can work with couples on rebuilding this and building that love, but sometimes it's almost impossible, and it's especially impossible when one person says, I'm done. I don't want any more to do with this. And again, at this point, I would love to say, here are some steps, but I want to take you back to what I've previously talked about in the beginning, is hopefully you start to see these early signs of this disintegration in our relationship. We're losing focus, and we wake up one day and go, oh my gosh, I've lost sight of who you are, and I'm sorry I've missed out on these things. Or we start to see that we're not gentle with one another and we're arguing, or we don't understand each other and we're just struggling to understand each other's needs. That's when we need help, whether it's therapy or someone else to guide us or a class, so that we can again focus on taking time for each other, listening to one another, understanding each other's needs, being intentional in doing things to build up the relationship versus allowing our selfishness or our anger or our frustration to, chip away or erode at that foundation of our marriage.